Crimson Trace offers a free Batteries for Life program that includes nearly all laser sights, electronic sights, and rifle scopes. Just register your product for a free set of batteries each year at crimsontrace.com.
Welcome to Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, where a right is always a right, not a privilege.
All right, welcome. Tom Gresham here. It's Gun Talk. We're going to be talking about guns for, well, quite a while. We talk about guns a lot. Shooting, recreational shooting, self-defense, of course, with firearms. And we'll talk about the new guns. We'll talk about politics as well. If you'd like to join us, well, that's easy. Give me a call. Just call me at Tom Talk Gun. It's easier than remembering all those numbers. Just Tom Talk Gun will get you in here. I love to read thrillers. That's kind of my thing. Action heroes, all of that. And it's always fun when you find a new author and you go, oh, man, this is good, because that means there's going to be more of them. And I did that when I discovered Jack Carr, author with his new book out. He joins us right now. Hello, Jack. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
I am. Oh, it's great. So, all right, you've got your newest book, your second novel out, True Believer, comes out in a couple of days. Before we get into that, what I'd like to do is, if you would, give folks just a little glimpse into some of your background, which I think probably informs a lot of what you do in your books.
It does. I spent the last 20 years, well, I got out in 2016, but the 20 years prior to that was spent in the SEAL teams. And it's something I wanted to do my entire life. So I found out what SEALs were at a very early age. I was 7 years old, and my path was set from then on. So went into the military and joined the Navy, went to boot camp, went to BUD/S, went to my first SEAL team, and then on my second deployment was September 11th. And really that was off to the races after that. So was a sniper for a lot of that time, and was enlisted first, and then became an officer about 6.5 years into it. So retired as a lieutenant commander in 2016.
All right. So as a SEAL, as a gun guy, as a military veteran, how much does it drive you crazy when you read novels and they get all the details wrong?
I know it. If I had $1 for every time I saw someone write about a safety on a Glock that they click on and off, before a shot, I'd be a rich man. But I try not to let those things ruin a story for me, but it's definitely distracting, and it sometimes it discredits some of the other things that have been in the book prior to that, or same thing with TVs and movie, when you see things that are just atrocious, like scopes on backwards and that sort of thing. It does
people wouldn't believe
a little bit from it, but I try to enjoy them for what they are, so it doesn't ruin the entire experience. And then I try not to mouth off to those around me, so I don't ruin the experience for them. But watching movies like that, or talking about books with someone from law enforcement or someone from special operations, can be a not very good experience for those around them when they start nitpicking apart the details, particularly when it comes to firearms.
You make a good point. It shouldn't ruin it. You got to let it not ruin it. But at the same time, it serves as kind of a speed bump when you hit that and you're going, oh, man, I wish he hadn't gotten that wrong. You kind of have to regroup and get back into the story when that happens, don't you?
You do. And I was reading a galley, so an advanced reader's edition of a novel recently. I was asked to do a blurb on it, and it's a great book, and I was reading it, and then it got to right up to the climactic scene, and a police officer steps through a door and takes the safety off his Glock. And so luckily, I got in touch with the publisher and told them they might want to change that, and then talked a little bit about the tactical scenario that followed that might needed a little tweaking. So they did prior to actual publication. So caught that one, but it happens more often than you think.
Well, in your new novel, True Believer, you've got your hero is fighting the forces of evil, and he's running all over the world, and there are shoot-'em-ups in the middle of it. But there's also just we call it the intel part of it, because that has to be a part of your background as well.
That's right. So before I went into to BUD/S, which is SEAL training, back when I went through, you had to have essentially what the other services would call an MOS, so a military occupational specialty, and mine was intelligence, and I was an intelligence representative for my two enlisted platoons, and then as an officer, just as part of the mission planning process, you're deeply involved with the intelligence side of the house. So who you're targeting, how you're targeting them, how you're double checking things that you get either technically or through human intelligence sources to make sure that you're not making a mistake and you're not going to make a certain situation worse downrange. So the intelligence side of the house is of vital importance in the mission planning process and just in building target packages in general. So all that plus the guns and the tactical stuff and then the emotions and those feelings behind certain real world events found their way into the pages of my first two novels. I thought I was going to get all the technical stuff correct and all that, but when I started writing, what I didn't anticipate was just how much I tap in to those emotions behind real world experiences and bring those into the novel as well.
So what was this I read about? There's a DOT has to basically vet your novel to check it out. Why is that? What's going on there?
Right. So they're both novels of fiction, so they're 100% made up. But they do rely, heavily on my background, and the protagonist is a former Navy SEAL sniper who becomes an officer, so his background mirrors mine to some extent. And at the time I started writing this, there was a lot of controversy out there because of a few books that had come out on the nonfiction side of the house. And the regulation that governs what you can and can't say after you leave the military when you've had some of these clearances is very broad, and that's by design. And it says anything intended for public release needs to be reviewed by the Department of Defense. So, being as broad as that is, a letter to the editor of or this phone call even intended for public release. So it's so broad they can go after you really, pick people at their choosing. I'm sure that's the intent. But because of all the controversy around certain books that had been released in the nonfiction space, I wanted to make sure I was honoring those clearances. So I submitted the first one, and the Department of Defense advertises a 30-day turnaround. And they got back to me on that first one in 45 days, which I thought was pretty good for a gigantic bureaucracy. And they took out about 9-10 lines, so not too much. They took out a few things. And what they took out was fairly ridiculous, but okay. So the second one, I figured I want to do the same thing. And I submitted again, and 1 month passes, 2 months pass, 3, 4. So they didn't get back to me until about 7 months. So this novel was supposed to come out in April, and we had to push the release date to July just because the Department of Defense took 7 months to do a 30-day review. And they're not big readers over there at the Department of Defense because you can rip through these things fairly quickly. But they took on a lot more this time. They took on 7 lines and 2 full paragraphs, which sounds like a lot, but in the grand scheme, when the novel's 130,000 words, it's really not that much. But they took out some strange things, and one of them being a country that I'd been to before I went into the military. And when I was in the military, I never had gone to this country. I never talked to anybody in the military that had been to this country. And I made up a scenario that happens there. And they took out every reference to the country, every reference to what could identify the country, like mountains, architecture. Very strange. So they did forget, being the government, though, they took out all those things, but forgot to take out the capital city. Knowing their intent, I helped them out and took that out for them.
Yeah, you say, okay, I'll cover for them. Okay, well, that's right. Let's pretend that this country doesn't exist. I like that. All right, the title of the new novel is True Believer. Now, it looks like it's coming out like this week, right?
That's right. It comes out on Tuesday. So in 2 days, it'll be out there hitting shelves. And they got the title from a quote that came from, as close as I can figure, to an Army Special Forces instructor at Fort Bragg at some point after 9/11. And he's trying to frame the enemy for the Special Forces students going through training. And he talks about the true believer as being someone that isn't really concerned about what they're eating, what workout they're doing. They made their own web gear. The only thing clean on them is their weapon. And so it kind of frames the enemy a little bit different from us when we're so focused on what workout to do and what nutritional supplements to have and all that sort of thing. So it was so that's where the title came from.
All right. Well, Jack Carr, the new novelist, True Believer, it's getting rave reviews. I mean, Lee Child, Mark Gurney, you got Dirk Cussler, you got others out there. Available everywhere, obviously, and you can go to Official Jack Carr, CARR, officialjackcarr.com. Order off of Amazon, everywhere else. Good luck with it. I hope it just is a runaway success for you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right. Take care. 866-TALK-GUN. Do you like those kinds of books? You like, and does it just drive you crazy when they get the guns and all that stuff wrong in movies and books? What are your best examples of where they just got it wrong? 866 Talk Gun.
The Kimber Evo SP is a 9mm carry gun with reliability you can count on and looks you can brag about. And now you can save $100 with a rebate on the Kimber Evo SP. Learn more about this great deal on the Kimber Evo SP at KimberAmerica.com. That's KimberAmerica.com. Or ask about the Kimber Evo SP at your local gun dealer.
Want to win a gun? Hey, this is Ryan Gresham with Gun Talk. Visit guntalk.com/win to enter our latest giveaway. This month, enter to win one of 2 new guns from SIG Sauer, the P320 X5 Legion with 3 17-round magazines, or the P365 X series with 2 12-round mags, both in 9mm. Enter now through August 2nd at guntalk.com/win. That's guntalk.com/win.
Attacks happen every day. How will you react? See real people put into real-life criminal attack situations on First Person Defender. Discover what works and what doesn't. Kidnapping, ATM robbery, home invasion, and other attacks. Learn how to save your life and the lives of your family. Get the entire first season on DVD at shopguntalk.com. Get prepared. Shopguntalk.com.
For 25 years, Crimson Trace has led the industry in laser and light technology and customer service. Now, Crimson Trace is proud to offer electronic sights and rifle scopes for tactical, target, and hunting applications, with the same Crimson Trace offer of free batteries for life on all products. The new rifle scope line is also backed by an unconditional lifetime warranty from the brand that you have trusted for over 2 decades. Find out more at crimsontrace.com.
Well, now, this is interesting. A loss, if you will, in court for gun rights. I'm sure it's not going to end there, but this was disturbing just because it's a head scratcher and you're going, really? A federal judge just this week in California, it upheld California's ban on many popular semi-automatic firearms. The judge in this case, Judge Josephine Staton, said that the AR-15 modern semi-automatic rifles are, quote, indistinguishable from M16s. Yeah, chew on that for a second here. Let's see, reading this from a news story, it said, what did she say here? Yes, exciting. She was extensively citing briefs in the case from anti-gun groups such as the Brady Center, Everytown, and Giffords. She found that semi-autos banned either by name or cosmetic features, such as collapsible stocks or muzzle brakes, were basically military-grade hardware. This is how she put it, the judge did. Because the court concludes that semi-automatic assault rifles are essentially indistinguishable from M16s, which Heller, the Heller decision, noted could be banned pursuant to long-standing prohibitions on dangerous and unusual weapons. The court need not reach the question of whether semi-automatic rifles are excluded from the Second Amendment because they are not in common use for lawful purposes like self-defense. Yes, gobbledygook. She also quotes saying that semi-automatic rifles are capable of 300 to 500 round per minute rate of fire, making them, quote, virtually indistinguishable in practical effect from machine guns. Yeah, nowhere in here, this story notes, nowhere in this judge's order was the research cited from the National Shooting Sports Foundation that no less than 15 million modern sporting rifles were built or imported between 1990 and 2015, and some 93% of gun retailers surveyed sold such firearms. Talk about being in common use. Holy cow. Let's go to line 3. John is with us out of Alabama with a range report. Hey, John, you've been traveling. Where'd you go?
Well, I didn't go, actually. It's a range report about a range I've never been to. I used to carry...
Fascinating.
Yeah, it is fascinating in a way. Like Jethro Gibbs always says on NCIS, I always carry something sharp. Well, I was about 30 years ahead of him on that. And I used to carry an Emerson Combat Folder. And then there was a guy, and I totally forgot it after I did it. He was from Gunsight and talking about the Gunsight, you know, what they do and everything. And I see this thing in a catalog downrange a little bit. Well, there was a neat folding knife at a decent price, so I bought it. And lo and behold, it said Gunsight on the blade. So I took it to my knife guy and made it so you could shave with it, and just stuck it in my pocket and never looked at it again, except when I used it once, because that knife in my pocket is strictly for people. And it had to be used on a situation we won't talk about. And I carried it again for another 20, 25 years, and I just took it out of my pocket the other day and opened up just to see if there's any dust down in the thing, because I never take it out I just take it out of my pocket and put it in the next pair of pants. I don't open it up and look at it. And there I am sitting there reading Gunsight, one of the best places in the world.
So you had that. How long have you had this knife?
Oh, it's got to be 25, 30 years.
So it was a knife that was it sold originally by Gunsight, the training academy?
No, it was sold by a cutlery company. And
but it has a Gunsight name on it.
And when I got it, I never actually looked at it. I took it to my knife buddy, and when he sharpens a knife, he don't sharpen it with stone. He sharpens it with paper. You could shave with it. And it went and folded up, went in my pocket, never looked at it again. It didn't even look at it when I used it. I folded it back up and put it in my pocket and cleaned it up, but I still didn't pay any attention to it. And it went back in my pocket again. I never opened this thing unless it's needed to be used. I just change it from pants to pants.
You don't use it to open cardboard boxes or anything like that?
This is only for flesh.
Okay, so this is your self-defense knife.
If you're gonna hurt me, I'm gonna do what old black man taught me once. He says, I'll cut you so bad when I pull on your arm, you open up like a Venetian blind.
Well, okay, there you go. That's a knife fighter for you. So I take it you were attacked, you had to use this thing, and then you find out later on it's actually a Gunsight knife from the people who teach self-defense training. For those who may not know, let me just throw this in also, John. Gunsight teaches defensive training, not just with guns. You know, yes, shotguns, rifles, handguns, but also with knives, also with other things there. So it would make sense that at some point in the past they have had knives. I think they still sell knives, if I'm not mistaken. You might check their website to take a look. But I'm glad it worked for you. I'm glad it saved you. And I like the idea. And look, I appreciate the call. I like the idea. Always carry something sharp. And and I'll tell you what I do. If you can't carry a knife, you can still carry something sharp. And I don't care if it's a big pen or one of the tactical pens or something. As they say, the real weapon is your mind. That's the thing that's actually working for you. So just food for thought. I actually had a guy that does a lot of defensive training, been a lot of places, say when he gets on the airline, he will ask for a can of soda and ask them to not open it. He says, if I've got a can of soda, I can beat somebody with it. Well, that's pretty interesting. Let's talk to Jody in Lodi, California on line 2. Hello, Joe. How you doing?
Hi there. How you doing? Oh, I shouldn't have asked that.
I'm good.
Hey, my question is, a long time ago, I worked with a guy from World War II He was in the infantry in World War II, and he's in a town in Belgium. And he said they were going through all the houses and taking the guns and the cameras out and running them over with tanks. He picked out a gun that I bought from him, I think, for like $20. It's an FN, and I think it's a model 1922, 32 ACP in original holster. Just a beautiful, like a brand new, that shoots beautiful little weapon. Have you ever heard anything about those, or?
Not, I don't have any personal experience with them. I'm looking them up on the internet right now, and they show, all the information there. Basically, it's a Browning design made by FN, which is pretty common because John Browning designed a bunch of guns from FN. But you say you still shoot it?
Oh yeah. I haven't shot a box of shells through it, but it's got 2 clips and the original holster, and it's just a sweetheart, brand new looking gun, like it's never been fired. So just wondering what you knew about them. That's all.
Yeah, that's basically it. It's that I'm sure you could probably look them up online and get more information from a historical perspective. But yeah, John Browning, of course, had this interesting connection to FN way back, and it's just unbelievable how many guns he designed. He was cranking them out like crazy, and yeah, there's no reason. Now that is if I remember right, that's a 32 ACP, right?
Yes, 32 ACP.
Oh, right. Okay. So why not? Exactly. It wouldn't be my defensive gun these days, but as an interesting piece of history and a thing to go out and shoot now and then, I think it's just great. Just take care of it. And look, I appreciate the call. Give me a chance to talk a little bit about those historical guns. We talked about those earlier. There's just this interesting connection that we have with guns and history. And then you say, okay, I'm going to go look up the FN Browning 1922 pistol. And that leads you down the rabbit hole of who made it, who used it, where did it go, what was it used for, what's it good for, reports on it, on and on and on. Yeah, we kind of tend to go a little gun geeky at times, and that's on our best days. 866 Talk Gun.
This is Milo Lardbottom, Junior Under Assistant Deputy to the Assistant Director of Deputy Affairs for the Department of Homeland Security, with a special message for listeners of Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. We know who you are. We know where you are. You're right by your radio. We have special cameras that can see into your radio. I have a special monitor built into my aluminum foil helmet. We are watching you, so don't try anything funny, Buster.
All right, back with you. 866 Talk Gun, or just call me at Tom Talk Gun. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk. Going to the phones, line 3, Larry is in Coos Bay, Oregon. Hello, Larry. How can we help you?
I'm in Coos Bay, Oregon, south coast of Oregon. I'm retired U.S. Coast Guard. I shoot a 45 ACP and an AR-15, and it is quite difficult to find any place around here where you can, within reasonable distance, that I can recreational shoot. And I was calling you to see if you could help me locate someplace around here where I could drive and regularly shoot.
You bet. Let's see. Well, close by, you got the Myrtle Point Sportsman's Club. You got Bandon Gun Club. You got, let's see here, the Emerald Empire Gun Club. You got Big K long distance rifle range. How did I find all those so quickly? Well, I went to a website called...
That's what I'm going to ask you. How did you find them all?
All right. You're going to love this. This is so easy. Wheretoshoot.org. You put in your zip code, and I put in the Coos Bay zip code, and then you specify how far you're willing to drive. And I tried 20 miles, and I went out to 80 miles. And when I got to 80 miles, I've got 15 different shooting ranges of all different types, from clay targets to handguns to long-distance rifle to everything else. So within roughly an hour to an hour and a half of you got a lot of options there.
That's great. Thank you very much. Wheretoshoot.org.
Right, wheretoshoot.org. It is an incredible, it's part of the National Shooting Sports Foundation, their outreach program, but it's really good. So they also have a wheretohunt.org. for those that want to do that too. Hey, I wish you luck with it. Do me a favor. When you go and do a little shooting, give us a call back and give us a range report on the range you go to, okay?
I would be most happy to. You can count on it.
Terrific. I appreciate it. Good luck, Larry. Thank you for that call here. Let's see here. Let's see. I do want to get Bill on 5. We're going to jump down there because he's on break from work. He doesn't have much time. So, Bill, we got you in here. What's up?
Hey, Tom, I wanted to know the do's and the don'ts of the show in Nashville. I know probably don't walk in with a gun, but basically, other than that, what's the do's and the don'ts?
Okay, you're talking about the NRA annual meeting is going to be in Nashville next year?
Yes.
Okay. Generally, you can walk in with a gun. I've seen people open carrying, and certainly concealed carry. There are a couple of venues where you cannot, but the actual hall itself, you can carry. If you go to, I think there's a music venue, and the facility there is a no-guns place. And obviously, any place where the president is speaking, you're not going to get into the room carrying a gun because Secret Service is not going to like that. But as far as just the exhibit hall and walking around, you should be okay. But here's the thing. That's still a few months away. So before you go, check again, and there will be a lot of information online and on the NRA's website about it, and it will tell you, where you can. I'm assuming that you have a carry permit so that you have reciprocity when you get there?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, you should be okay. But again, just check the regs right before you go to make sure that nothing's changed, nothing went weird, and the exhibit hall had some new rules or something. Just always a good idea to check that as a last-minute deal.
And that's usually Friday through Sunday?
Yes, as I remember. Yes, correct. So, and they'll have those dates and times there too. And really 2 days, you need 2 days, but 2 days you should be able to cover it.
Okay. Okay, well, hey, I appreciate the info. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Tell you what, before we go to our break, let's get Tom in here on line 1. He's got a range report for us. Hey, Tom, what you been shooting?
I just picked up a SIG piece 365. They had the NRA edition in the coyote color, and it's like, well, I can't not get it. And so I picked that up, and they offered range time whenever you get a gun anyway. And I got to try out that Legion X series with that tungsten frame.
Oh, what'd you think of that? Isn't that an amazing pistol?
Almost
almost
no recoil to it. I mean, at least the felt recoil was minimal. And then on the P365, it's not a tack driver, but I realize it's a small gun, and I'm going to take some more shooting to get used to it and stuff. But I had heard one issue with it was it does a weird drag on the primer whenever it's ejecting. It drag the striker drags the primer pocket some, and I have noticed that on my gun too. I didn't know if there's any issue that's something they're going to resolve, or if the XL series takes care of that or not.
They actually have addressed it. How long have you had your pistol?
I picked up on about the 12th, I think it was 12th, 13th. I picked my birthday, so it's had about just about half a month now.
Oh, okay. So, and you got it new?
Yes.
What you might want to do is contact SIG and just ask them about it. I have not experienced any issues with my particular model, but you may want to contact them and say, look, this is the serial number, and see if they have an issue or something they need to do about it. But as far as it being a tack driver or not, I have found it to be a really good, accurate gun. It's just harder to shoot well because it is smaller, lighter, and it has a little bit shorter barrel. And so even the slightest disruption of the sights when you press the trigger will throw you off. And so you got to really concentrate on not manipulating that trigger or not, pulling it off.
I think it's definitely getting used to the gun. It's just going to be a lot of dry firing and stuff like that, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And to kind of really, when you're shooting it, concentrate on a straight pull back on that trigger, trying to not disturb the sights, not pull it off, and just keep that press coming all the way back and let it go off. Instead of making it go off, let it go off. I think you'll be impressed with what it can do. You know, it's just, as I say, they're just smaller guns are just harder to shoot well.
I noticed if I got in a hurry, like you said, try to make it shoot, that's when I was way off. Because I was definitely
always.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that old deal. We have to get out of our own way. We are the problem most of the time, right?
Yeah. Yep, not behind the wheel.
There it is. All right, thanks for the call. I appreciate that. All right, 866-TALK-GUN. Looking for your range reports. What have you been shooting? Do you like it? Do you hate it? And also, do you remember a particular scene or something in a movie where you're going, oh, no, you guys didn't do that? The stuff they do with guns and TV and movies, I don't know. 866-TALK-GUN.
Whether you carry it on your hip or in your hands, when it's from Springfield Armory, your gun is a part of the legendary line, the great 1911 pistols, the innovative XD, XDM, and XDS pistols for competition and defense, the new 911 carry pistol, guns you can count on. Shooters everywhere rave about the Saint pistols and rifles, and of course, the mighty M1A battle rifle. Check out the latest at springfield-armory.com.
It's the Bill of Rights, not the Bill of Needs. I'm Alan Gottlieb, founder of the Second Amendment Foundation. When someone says we don't need that kind of gun, remind them the Founding Fathers determined what rights our Constitution should protect. There's a world of difference between rights and needs. It is not the function of government to tell us what we need or what we don't. Certainly no one needs an assault rifle or a Saturday night special, or for that matter, no one needs a Corvette with a high-capacity horsepower engine capable of speeds to 150 miles per hour. But in the hands of honest, responsible individuals, we have the right of choice. We have the right to read books others don't like. We have the right to listen to any radio program we choose. We have the right to dress the way we want to. We also have the right to own firearms of our choice. So the next time someone tells you, you don't need something, tell them it's the Bill of Rights, not the Bill of Needs. Join the Second Amendment Foundation today so that this message and our Bill of Rights might live. Call 425-454-7012. That's 425-454-7012.
This land, once wild and free, fades now from our memory. But I remember what it was like, what we were like, what we are capable of when we band together. Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. These natural wonders are where waterfowl begin their cycle of life, where the deer and the antelope play, and where we, the people, gather together to see and share what makes the outdoors so great. The time is now to band together with organizations like Ducks Unlimited. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
Since 1902, Norma has built a reputation for its dedication to quality, precision, and reliability. Norma now offers a line of personal defense handgun ammunition. The monolithic hollow point 9mm is designed for the ultimate in performance across all sizes and barrel lengths. This bullet delivers unprecedented expansion and quick energy transfer for great stopping power. Norma offers proven ammunition for hunting, competition, self-defense, and more. Find yours at norma-ammunition.com.
Back with you, 866-TALK-GUN. John's called in from Richmond, Virginia on 3. Hello, John. Welcome to Gun Talk. Maybe. John, you there? All right. He walked away, got a sandwich. Okay. Ed's with us on line 4 out of Oklahoma. Hello, Ed. You're on Gun Talk.
Yes, sir. I'm interested in a carry in the 3/4, I think it's about a 3/4 scale, the Browning 1911 380 ACP.
Right.
I'm interested in it as a carry weapon, and it's I've gotten a little older, and my grip is not what it was, and I like the scale of it and the feel of it, but I haven't bought one. I just want to get your take on this Browning 380 as a carry weapon and its ability to rack.
Okay. It's going to have the features, basically being a 380, it's going to have a lighter spring than a 9mm, which is going to make the slide easier to rack. If you really like a 1911 style pistol, I think this is one that you might want to consider. I'm going to throw this out, though. If you're not married to the 1911 pistol, there's another one I'm going to mention that a lot of people have fallen in love with, and it's from Smith & Wesson. It's called the M&P 380 Shield EZ. The EZ is because it's easy to work.
I held them side by side and racked both, and it felt like that's why I'm calling you. I don't know which way to go with the Smith or with the Browning, and your comments will tip the scale. I enjoy the show and trust your wisdom.
Well, how do they feel to you?
Well, the grip on the 1911, of course, I have several of those, and I love the grip of it. It's smaller, fits my hand well. And again, racking the two, I don't see much difference. But I have no experience.
Well, the Shield EZ, it has a lot going for it. But again, you're going to get to a certain point where you go, okay, it's an 8+1. You're going to have about the same thing in the Browning. It's really at this point going to come down to personal preference. What do you like for the feel? Are you okay with the weight? If they're, measuring the two, you can't shoot them both because they're probably new. Trying to think if there's anything else. One's polymer, one's metal, one's steel. Just trying to think of any other big differences between the two. You got a grip safety on both of them. Price is probably going to be a factor. What was the price on that Browning?
$600.
Yeah, you're looking at $400 retail on the Shield, just for whatever that's worth. That's a factor. I think you're going to be happy either way. I just know that I have recommended the Shield EZ to a lot of people, and they've come back and said, I love that pistol. I love to shoot it. It just is easy to shoot. Not just rack and slide, but it's a low recoil gun. It's fun to shoot. Having said all that, man, I love 1911s. I just got to tell you. So this is one of those that, okay, there's good news. There's bad news and good news here. The bad news is I can't help you. The good news is you can't make a bad choice.
Now, wait a minute. So I called in. You're supposed to tip that scale, put your thumb on it, and weight it towards one. It sounds like you're weighting it towards the Smith.
Hey, that's where I would go, but I'm like trying to leave it open for you. If you like one, if it were me, I would go get the Smith. That's just me, okay?
All right, man.
All right, look, good luck with it. I appreciate the call. Yeah, it is personal preference. And yeah, there's $200 difference or so. In 10 years, you wouldn't care about that. If you're just in love with 1911s, you got to go that way. If you're just looking for a real shooter, the Smith is great. But you know what? There are other 380s out there. I would say look at all of them. Man, the 380 is a real serious self-defense tool these days. And they're easy and fun to shoot. All right, let's go straight to the phone. John, line 3, Richmond, Virginia. Hello, John, you there?
Yay, Tom.
Yes, sir. We were asking about, I got you. We were talking about guns in the movies and things like that. You got an interesting take here.
Well, yeah, I wanted to say that I really enjoyed the interview with the writer that you interviewed. He sounds like the real deal.
Right.
Yeah, he's not going to include a gun in any of his novels without probably having shot it himself, I imagine.
That sounds about right. When a guy was a sniper in the SEALs, he probably knows something about guns, and then he makes a good author. Jack Carr is, in case people missed it, Jack Carr is the author of a new novel titled True Believer. So, yeah, well, we were talking about mistakes in movies that drive you crazy. Anything that comes to mind?
Well, actually, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I know, I grew up with the TV shows in the 70s and 80s. There were probably a few mistakes in those, but I got to say, on behalf of Hollywood and the movie industry, they do pretty well with guns these days. They seem fairly accurate. There's the old joke about the Hollywood magazine that never runs out, but I haven't even seen that lately. In fact, there's you could pull up videos on YouTube of actors being trained by some of the best gun professionals out there.
I agree. They're doing much better, and they're paying attention to it. Yeah.
Right. And I spoke with your producer. You said it was fine for me to pass on a website that some of the other listeners might be interested in.
Sure.
It's called, the initials are imfdb.org. It stands for Internet Firearms Movie Database.
Okay, that's a takeoff on the Right, that's a takeoff on IMDb when you want to look up movies, and this is for guns, IMFDB, Internet Firearms Database. Fascinating idea. It is imfdb.org, and you can search. I'd never seen it before, and I'm looking at it now. You can search by movie, by different guns. You can say a Ruger Single 6, and it tells you these are the movies and the TV shows that this gun was used in. This is very interesting. Right. Somebody put a lot of work into this.
Yeah, man. You don't want to. Don't be browsing it while you're on your show now, because you'll get sucked right into that thing.
Hey, it's what I do. It's all I do.
Okay, Tom. Well, I do want to say that you can look up any movie, any TV show, all seasons of the TV show, all episodes. It's got it covered. I'll go see, just a movie that just came out, the new Quentin Tarantino movie. I went to the premiere with my wife, and when we got home, I looked it right up on that website and saw the guns that were used, including, I don't want to give spoilers, but it involves some of the Manson family members in that film.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, I appreciate the lead. I had not seen this website before, and you're right. It is a black hole that will suck you in. For those who want to go ahead and just waste an hour or two of their lives, it's not wasting when you're doing gun research. It's IMFDB, India Mike Foxtrot Delta Bravo.org. There you go. So I've just set you up to spend an afternoon cruising around in there. In the meantime, if you'd like to join us for the after show, now's the time. Give me a call right now, 866-TALK-GUN. If you're going to be doing some shooting this week, invite somebody to go with you. Hey, take some pictures, send them to us over at our Facebook page, Gun Talk. Check out our Facebook page. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel. We're putting up new videos all the time. Be safe out there. Check your six. Use a good holster. Use a good belt. Practice, practice, practice. This is serious stuff, okay? And above all, remember, shooting is fun, so share that experience. We'll see you next week.